We have live team coverage here right now with the night team. Our reporters on the earlier protests, but first, the latest on the police officers' conditions from the police chief. Tyler Emery covered his briefing. Tyler?
Hey there, Doug. First, like you said, one suspect is in custody tonight, but the scene where the shooting happened is still blocked off. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see what we are looking at here. I am at 1st and Broadway, just an intersection over from where this happened near Brook and Broadway. You can see crime scene tape blocking off the intersection still with the FBI here. And like you said, Doug, we heard from interim LMPD Chief Robert Schroeder just recently within the last hour, who confirms for us 2 LMPD officers were shot at 1st and Broadway. Again, right where we are. Both were taken to University Hospital, where one of the officers is undergoing surgery but is stable. The other officer is alert and stable. The chief did not elaborate on their injuries, but he did say they're not life-threatening injuries. Now, Chief Schroeder tonight did express concerns for the safety of all officers. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I am very concerned about the safety of our officers. Obviously, we've had 2 officers shot tonight, and that is very serious. It's a very dangerous condition. I think that the safety of our officers and the community we serve is of utmost importance.
Chief Schroeder also providing us with a few more details about what exactly happened the moments of this shooting. He says it happened around 8:30 tonight as officers were headed to the area of College and Broadway for reports of shots fired. At that point, Schroeder says while they were on their way, gunshots rang out near this intersection that you're taking a look at right now. We are on Broadway between 1st and Brook Streets. Again, in an LMPD live stream of the moments just before, we can see officers throw some flashbangs, and then we hear several pops, which we now know were gunshots. And I was out here shortly after it happened, and some protesters told me they had also heard live bangs. They said that a very large group of protesters scattered from the scene. They told me that they also saw some officers running. Now, Chief Schroeder tonight says that all of the information that he provided is preliminary in nature. He says it is still under investigation, but right now, as you can see, that this scene is still blocked off here on Broadway. Doug?
Hey there, Tyler. Right now I'm here at University Hospital, and what we saw here at the hospital was the kind of response you would expect to see when an officer is shot, and in this case, there were 2 officers shot. I'll move out of the way so you guys can know that as this first happened, Chestnut Street was totally lined with police cruisers, and even hours later, there are still some officers here. Just a bit ago, we did see a crowd of them kind of waiting outside of the hospital entrance. Again, we do know that 1 officer is stable and another is in surgery. Other officers are here kind of still blocking Hancock Street, along with members of the Kentucky National Guard. Take a look at this, who are also here. And as those officers were transported to the hospital, I'm told others at the scene ran here, following behind the ambulance, at that point unsure at how these officers were doing. Now, just before this shooting happened, we were actually sitting down with the St. Matthews police chief, who's a former LMPD officer, Barry Wilkerson. He's actually been in law enforcement for more than 30 years, and he was telling us the difficulty that these officers are having during protests like this, when they're trying to protect the public, they're trying to protect even the marchers, and of course, they are trying to protect themselves. So on an outcome like this, where 2 officers end up shot on a day like today, this is not what any person in a first responder uniform wants to see. Again, we do know that 1 officer is stable, the other is still in surgery, and we're hoping to find out more information as well as who these officers are soon. Reporting live from the hospital, I'm Heather Fontaine for WHAS 11 News. Go ahead, Doug.
All right, Heather, thank you very much. Reaction coming into the shooting of the police officers tonight. In fact, Governor Andy Beshear just moments ago, right before 11 o'clock, talking about the events unfolding in Louisville and the shooting of the officers.
The shooting of at least 2 law enforcement officers. We know that the answer to violence is never violence, and we are thinking about those 2 officers and their families tonight. So I'm asking everybody, please, go home.
That appears to have happened. Most of the protesters left the city quickly after the shooting of the officers tonight. In an email just a few minutes ago, an LMPD spokesperson telling us they've arrested a total of 46 people today. Right now, we don't know the charges they're facing. Earlier tonight, fires were set in garbage cans downtown. Fireworks set off as well. Jesse Cohen has been following the protesters today and more on what downtown appears to look like at this hour. Jesse, what's up?
Well, Doug, right now I am outside Metro Corrections, and just moments ago I was right in front of Jefferson Square Park, where all of this KSP presence right behind me, I'm going to step out of the way so you can see it, has moved from the other side of Jefferson Square Park right in front of Metro Corrections. Now, moments ago we did watch them arrest a few people on the other side of this white car, so it's pretty difficult to see from where we're standing right now, but they moved over here very quickly, very fast, and it seems like there are some protesters on the other side. But like you said, today has been relatively quiet. I've been out at the square waiting to talk to some people, and honestly, there was not more than 20 people at the square at a time. But we did see some things that did show that people were there. We're going to show you some video that we took just a little bit earlier showing some of the trash can fires that we saw. Pretty much every single trash can surrounding Jefferson Square Park was burning. You could hear that sizzling, and you can see that melted plastic that was coming out of the trash can. We also happened to see a bus stop that was completely shattered, and we did see a few other fires in some areas like Muhammad Ali and 6th, and that group of protesters that eventually ended up near Broadway, we did see them walking here earlier. But what's so interesting that we've been seeing here tonight is this large KSP presence with a small LMPD presence with such a small amount of protesters. So we're going to be out here continuing to gather information about what this presence really is and exactly how many people are getting arrested. Back to you, Doug.
Okay, Jesse, thank you. FBI Louisville saying they are also involved in the investigation of the shooting of the police officers. And don't forget, the Kentucky National Guard has been activated. They are in Louisville tonight as well. Former police officer Brett Hankinson is the only officer facing charges in connection with the Breonna-Taylor shooting 6 months ago. And he was booked into the Shelby County Detention Center at 4:30 this afternoon. Just about 30 minutes later, he was out on a bond of $15,000 cash. The jail did not release who paid that bond. The grand jury, Jefferson County grand jury, released its indictments of Hankinson on 3 counts of wanton endangerment earlier today. That's 1 charge for every other person in the line of fire the night Breonna Taylor was killed. Chris Williams taking a closer look at the evidence and explanation that the Attorney General Daniel Cameron gave today when announcing his major decision.
A lack of body camera use and video of the event has been a hard fact to accept for many anxious over this report. Attorney General Daniel Cameron said it made his special investigation focus on crime scene pictures like these, ballistics, 911 and police radio recordings, and interviews to piece together what happened.
In the early morning hours of March 13th, officers from LMPD executed a search warrant at 3003 Springfield Drive, apartment 4. This was Miss Breonna Taylor's residence.
We'd seen some of the crime scene photos. Now General Cameron was connecting them to numbers.
Detective Hankinson fired his weapon 10 times, including from a outside sliding glass door and through a bedroom window. Some bullets traveled through apartment 4 and into apartment 3 before some exited that apartment.
Evidence, he claims, proves Kenneth Walker fired once, and it was his bullet that hit Sergeant Mattingly.
The ballistics report shows that the round that struck Sergeant Mattingly was fired from a 9mm handgun. The LMPD officers fired .40 caliber handguns.
It took an FBI team to do what a state lab could not, identify from which gun the bullet came that killed Breonna Taylor. We learned Ms. Taylor was hit 6 times total. Her original death certificate only counted 5.
And bullet might be too generous a term. There was an object that was lodged into one of her feet, and so that is what is being referred to as the 6th, projectile.
While these were the facts laid out by the AG to cameras, what exactly was presented to the grand jury will likely stay sealed for some time. General Cameron says he intends not to release it, at least until after Detective Hankinson is prosecuted. Chris Williams, WHAS 11 News.
Sergeant John Mattingly's attorney, not charged in this case, Kent Wicker, released a statement saying the grand jury's decision shows the system worked and jurors recognized the facts of the case. Kent Wicker writing, the death of Breonna Taylor is a tragedy, But these officers did not act in a reckless or unprofessional manner. They did their duty, performed their roles as law enforcement officers, and above all, did not break the law.
The public needs to understand how painful this was for her. She had to sit on the ground for a few minutes.
Heartbreak for Breonna Taylor's family. They went to Frankfort today to learn more about the grand jury report and meet personally with the Attorney General. We're talking with those close to the family about how they reacted. It's all new on the night team right after this.